From 1 chicken to $1 million! And my very first challenge on this channel. But I won't be choosing the map, difficulty, starting money, land, or equipment. The Wheel of Fortune will decide everything. So let's find out just how badly it's about to ruin my life. Let's spin the wheel. Oh, and one more thing, I almost forgot. There are a few mandatory rules. I cannot sell my starting land or my starting vehicle. The $1 million must be earned through the chicken business. I can't take out my first loan until 6 months have passed. Contracts can only be completed using equipment that I own. Leasing equipment is allowed, but not for contract work. And finally, I have just 3 years to complete this challenge. Let's do this. Let's spin the wheel and find out which map number we get. The wheel only shows numbers, and I have absolutely no idea which map is hiding behind them. There are plenty of modded maps in my collection that I've never played before, so this could get very interesting. Let's see what we get. I think it's stopping. The map number doesn't tell us much yet, but $750 is actually really good. A hard difficulty setting though, that could make it a lot harder to finish this challenge within 3 years. That's not good. Well, hopefully I landed on a map that actually has some land available to buy. Oh, I got the cheapest vehicle from my list. Honestly, I don't even know which one is the cheapest. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's jump into the game and see which map we got. Spakowo, a Polish map. I installed it a while ago and took a quick look around, but I've never actually played on it. If I remember correctly, there are a lot of small fields on this map, so this could be very interesting for a challenge like this. Let's take a look and see what we're working with. Oh yeah, I remember these long, narrow fields. Our plot is number 91. Now where is it? Maybe there's some kind of production building on it? And there it is. It's not the smallest field, but that shape is definitely not doing us any favors. Before we start the challenge, I'll quickly set everything up. After all, we need 1 chicken, and that chicken needs somewhere to live. So I'll place a small chicken coop. I think that's only fair. Although starting with a coop for 1,000 chickens would be a lot nicer. Good thing we have $750. We're going to need every dollar if we're going to keep our chicken fed. All right, now for the vehicle. The cheapest car on my list. But what actually counts as a car? I'd say the Skoda is probably the cheapest option I have, and quite possibly the most useless one too. Perfect. And now we have $750. Let's see how Alex from a parallel universe handles this.
Well then, it's time to begin. Good afternoon. Could you tell me where field number 91 is located?
Further down this road, you'll run into a herd of wild boars.
Wild boars? Are they joking? Oh, hey, get out of here. Shoo, shoo. Well, that's definitely an interesting way to start this challenge. I think I scared them off. Now let's take a look at our land. Somewhere around here I should have 1 chicken. Matilda, let's go meet her. Hey, where are you? All right then, maybe later. Right now, she needs food. And that means our very first mission is to feed Matilda. This is a really detailed map. And I got lucky. My field already has grain growing on it. That's great news, because chickens need grain. Looks like Matilda won't be starving anytime soon. So, where do we start? Let's buy some chicken feed and pick up my car. Oh, hi Matilda. Are you hungry? Let's fix that right away. Where's the store? Oh, everything is so close together here. And our old friends are here too. I can actually walk to the store. I'm using a fast walking mod because I really don't like teleporting around the map. When you're running across the map, you get a chance to explore the area and learn your surroundings. And here we are, the store. And there's my car, my favorite color. Yeah, it's a nice car. But It's completely useless for a farm. Well, at least it has four-wheel drive and a hitch. Those might come in handy someday. Oh, I forgot the chicken feed. And I need an axe, too. Since contract can only be completed using equipment that I own, an axe might end up being a very useful investment. I could harvest the crop using this thing, but it would be painfully slow and incredibly inconvenient. Still, we have to work with what we've got. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money right now. The only contracts I can take are forestry jobs, so we're heading to the forest. And there's actually a perfect contract available. At least, I'm pretty sure an axe will fit in a Skoda. Oh, but first, I need to feed the chicken. Can't start building $1 million chicken empire if the only chicken is starving. Let's take care of Matilda first. Let's go. The countryside roads on this map are incredibly well made. Honestly, I never would have noticed this if I had just teleported straight to the forest. Rocks, potholes, the suspension is struggling to keep up. And that's actually pretty realistic. I like that. Whenever I try a new map, one of the first things I pay attention to is the back roads. A lot of maps get the fields right, but not many get the countryside roads right. The forest looks great too. This map is making a really good first impression. The problem is, forest land here is pretty expensive. You know what? I think I'm going to add one extra rule for myself. I can only take forestry contracts during the first year of the challenge. Oh yeah, contract completed. It's time to collect my payment. And there we go, my very first income. Now I can finally buy my first piece of equipment. Looking at this thing, it's hard to even call it equipment. But I don't really have a choice. Renting a real harvester for such a tiny field, especially on hard difficulty, just doesn't make much sense. Honestly, I wish the game offered some old, barely running harvesters for a couple $1,000s. Something held together with hope and duct tape. It might barely work, but it would still be better than this medieval torture device. Well, looks like we're going to suffer, and hopefully this will be the last time. That's right, Matilda. You're about to have plenty of food. Oh no, I just realized something. This is going to take a very long time. A very, very long time. I just filled the hopper completely, and then I decided to check one thing. Chickens don't eat oats. Good thing I didn't try feeding all of this to Matilda. That would have been awkward. Well, now I need to unload it. Actually, I'm going to sell it. Luckily, the sell point is right next to the store. And with the money we earn from this, I'll be able to buy a lot more grain that's actually suitable for chickens. Oh, it unloads automatically. Well, that makes things easier. $653, not bad at all. Although, it might be hard to earn back the cost of this thing. But that's okay. I'm going to sell it once I'm done with it. and then I'll definitely come out ahead. At least that's the plan. Oh, they paid me $6 more this time. Excellent. We're getting closer to that $1 million. Oh, and this is the nearest place where I can refuel my equipment. Good to know. There's not much left to harvest now. The field is almost done. But a good contract just showed up. Forestry again. Dead trees again. Honestly, I don't really enjoy these contracts. But I don't have much of a choice. If I want to finish this challenge within 3 years, I'm going to have to take every opportunity I can get. Excellent! Another $1,800. We're finally starting to make some real money. Now let's see what the used equipment market has to offer. What we really need is a cheap tractor. And hopefully something that doesn't fall apart the moment we start the engine. Come on, give me something good. Maybe something better will show up later. But for now, since we finally have some money, I think it's time to buy a small mower. We need to expand the number of contracts we can take. The more job opportunities we have, the faster we'll grow this business. And right now, every dollar matters. Oh, I forgot to buy the mower attachment. Well, that was smart. All right, that's fixed. For now, I'll leave my brand new giant tractor right here. Now it's time to finish harvesting the field. Finished. And we got lucky with the weather. It's a good thing I managed to finish before dark. That's strange. Something seems to be wrong with the sell point. Oh, looks like some kind of technical issue. Maybe it's because the hopper was only half full. Well, whatever the reason, we can't stay here forever. Let's keep moving. Finally, I can sell this thing. And hopefully, I never have to use it again. So, what's next? I remember seeing a cheap water trailer somewhere. And there it is! Since I've decided to play this challenge a little more realistically, I should probably eat something too. So I'm going to place a few greenhouses. That way I can grow my own vegetables instead of buying food. And sell whatever I don't need. I really don't like loading pallets. But I also don't use super strength or auto load mods. That's why I usually avoid building huge greenhouse operations or giant factory setups. But if the farm grows big enough, I'll just hire some workers. Let's say I pay them $100 for every pallet they load. Of course, they'll be doing all that off camera. And of course, I wouldn't be me if I didn't do something stupid right before calling it a day. I decided this tractor was going to pull that water tank out of the pond. The problem is, the tank probably weighs 5 times more than the tractor. And I definitely don't have enough horsepower for this. Even my Skoda isn't helping. You know what? I'll deal with this tomorrow. I can't see a thing anymore. September is here, and I've been trying to pull that water trailer out of the pond since early this morning. And since I'm known for solving problems quickly and efficiently, I left it there and went on with my day. And to avoid crawling through swamps every time I need water, I think it's time to place a well. They're not very expensive, and honestly, I think I can afford one. And because I'm obviously a very wealthy businessman, and future millionaire, I bought another water tank. At this rate, I'm probably going to write a book someday. How to run a successful farm. Chapter 1. Buy things you don't actually need. Chapter 2. Buy even more of them. Honestly, I think I'm doing great so far. By the way, I've started noticing signs of autumn on this map. The seasonal details are really well done. I like that. And here are the greenhouses. Perfect. There are some nice small ones available. They'll produce no more than a single pallet of vegetables per month, which means they won't need much water either. That sounds just about right for a small farm like this.
The well does have one downside. It's incredibly slow. But I guess that makes sense. Some invisible worker is probably standing down there with a bucket, pulling up water one bucket at a time. And that sounds like a lot of work. At least filling the greenhouse tanks goes pretty quickly. Ooh, I have a bad feeling about this tractor. It looks like it's really struggling with this kind of work. And I have a feeling this won't be the last time it complains. I should probably fill this greenhouse with a few extra loads of water while I'm here. Might save me some trips later. Oh, the roof actually opens. That's pretty cool. I guess it helps keep the temperature down on hot days. And while I still have a little money left, I should probably buy a rooster and a few more chickens. After all, without a rooster, these chickens aren't going to multiply themselves. $22. The business is booming. And now Matilda won't be lonely anymore. She has some new friends and a handsome rooster. All right, everyone, I'm expecting eggs any day now. Don't let me down. I did harvest the field, but there's a problem. I need wheat, and right now, I don't even have enough money to buy chicken feed. Honestly, I don't like this cedar, not one bit. I need to save up some money, rent proper equipment, and prepare this field the right way. After all, the field may be small, but we're going to need a lot of feed if this chicken business is going to grow. And of course, I need a proper tractor. This feeling of being completely helpless is getting really frustrating. Every job takes longer than it should. Everything feels harder than it needs to be. The sooner I get a real tractor, the sooner this farm can actually start growing. I tried everything. I even disconnected the hitch. Nothing worked. And since I'm such an expert at solving problems, I left everything exactly the way it was and went looking for contracts instead. My sanity is more important. And it's finally time to put this little tractor to work. Now that's what I'm talking about. Some great mowing contracts. For the first time since we started, I can actually choose which contracts I want to take. That's a very interesting piece of land. Small, cheap, and yet it has garages, grass fields, and even a few trees. Exactly the kind of property I'm looking for. Although, there's a good chance those garages are just decorative. We'll find out soon enough. This is a beautiful map. Honestly, I'm surprised I've never done a playthrough on it before. There are so many small details everywhere. And at the same time, nothing feels cluttered or out of place. The roadsides look fantastic. The vegetation is well done. There are animals, little footpaths, and small details around every corner. It feels like a place where people actually live, not just another map built around fields. This project isn't just about trying something different. It's also a chance for me to experience something new. I've spent a long time working on a story-driven series, and honestly, I think a short break is a good thing. Everything changes. YouTube changes. New rules appear.
Recently, YouTube introduced a requirement to label videos that contain realistic AI-generated footage. I did that with my latest video, and whether it was because of that or not, it made me stop and think about the future of this channel. Luckily, the first season of my series has come to an end, so I decided to take a short break from storytelling and try something completely different. And that's how this idea was born. But this isn't just my adventure. I want to turn it into something bigger, something the entire farming simulator community can take part in. At the end of this video, I'll invite other creators to join. Any creator who has ever made a challenge video is welcome to participate. And viewers can join too. If you'd like your own starting scenario, just leave a comment. I'll use the Wheel of Fortune to create unique starting conditions for every participant. Maybe it'll be a disaster. Maybe it'll become an amazing story. Either way, I think it could be a lot of fun. One of my favorite parts is that even the map is chosen randomly, which means we'll get to discover maps we've never played before, and maybe even see what other creators have hidden away in their mod folders. And don't worry, the stories of Alex and Samantha are far from over. In just a few weeks, I plan to release the next chapter of Samantha's story. And in July, the first episode of Season 2 will begin. Alex and Emma are heading to France, a new country, new places, new adventures, and probably a whole new collection of problems. So this isn't a goodbye, it's just a short break before the next chapter begins. But for now, let's get back to Alex and his little mowing contract. Contract completed. All right then, hand over my money. That's more like it. Now we're talking. Every dollar counts. And today, we're moving in the right direction. There are 3 mowing contracts available right now. And what's stopping me from taking all 3? Absolutely nothing. All right then, we're taking every single one of them. If we're going to work properly. All contracts accepted. Now let's head to the closest field and get started. Well, maybe we're not leaving just yet, but now we're definitely leaving. Probably. I finished the next contract pretty quickly, and on the way, I found something interesting. Turns out it was a collectible item, and for finding it, I got paid $1,000. Now that's the kind of treasure hunting I can get behind. I'm really glad I decided to take this road. And I learned something else. Apparently, on this map, you can collect trash from the forest and get paid for it. That's actually a pretty cool feature. So now, I'm hoping I'll come across some of those garbage bags while working in the woods. For once, finding trash might actually make me happy. And then I saw the next field. That's when I stopped laughing. Actually, that's when I realized I had a problem. A big problem. Because this field was huge. Absolutely huge. Maybe not for a real tractor, but for my little machine, it looked endless. I suddenly had a feeling that this contract was going to take a lot longer than I expected.
Since I'm going to be driving circles around this field for a while, I might as well think about the future. According to the rules, the $1 million has to come from the chosen business. In my case, chickens. That means only money earned from selling eggs and chickens counts toward the goal. And if I end up running out of time, I'll also count the value of chicken-related buildings when I sell them at the end. And honestly, on hard difficulty, I'm pretty sure I won't finish on time. If I manage to fully stock my chicken coop during the first year, I expect it to produce only one full pallet of eggs. That's roughly $2,000. And I'll probably spend about the same amount on chickens and feed. So it'll be interesting to see whether this business is actually profitable in the long run. I've already come up with a rough strategy. First, I need to figure out which chicken coop gives the best balance between capacity and cost. Feed capacity matters too. And one thing is certain, I'm never buying chicks. That makes absolutely no sense. What does make sense is filling a coop to about 70% capacity, then waiting for chicks to be born. Over time, the coop will naturally grow to 100% occupancy. Once that happens, I can sell some of the adult chickens and bring the occupancy back down to 70%. That way, egg sales cover the feed costs, and the chicken sales become pure profit. But that's not all. If I manage to plant wheat this season, I can cut my feed costs in half next year. And after 6 months, I'll finally be allowed to take out a loan and buy another field. Ideally, I'd like to buy a field that already has wheat growing on it. But that's probably unrealistic. Before starting this adventure, I installed a risky land market mod. That means very few fields are actually available for sale. And if one with a wheat crop does appear, it's probably going to be overpriced. The funny thing is, I'm making all these plans before even 6 months have passed. So let's see if any of this actually works. We'll find out at the end of the 3 years.
And one more thing. I've been driving, and driving, and driving. At this point, I'm getting dizzy. And somehow, the contract is only 5% complete. 5%! Which means there's no way I'm finishing this before dark. And there's a very good chance I'm going to run out of fuel too. The only thing keeping me motivated right now is those $5,000 waiting at the end. Because with that money, I can finally buy a real tractor. Oh yes, no complaining. Back to work.
Why? I'm checking the replay. That can't be right. A second ago, the fuel gauge was showing 25%, and then it instantly dropped to 0. Well, that's not good. What do I do now? Run! I have to make it back before it's too late. I've already spent an hour and a half of real time working on this field, and I was absolutely sure I had enough fuel and enough daylight to finish the job. Apparently, I was wrong. Yes, I lost the fuel can somewhere in the bushes. I spent a long time looking for it, with a flashlight, everywhere. And eventually, I gave up. My plan was simple. I'd buy a new fuel can in the morning, come back here, and calmly finish the contract. But the next morning, I did exactly what I had planned. I bought a new fuel can, ran all the way back to the field, filled up the tractor, and then I realized something was wrong. The contract had expired. I had failed to finish the last 10% in time. And no, the game wasn't broken. This one was entirely my fault. I simply forgot to check the deadline. I was disappointed. That's it. I'm done. Maybe I'll quit and come back in a few days. Yeah, right. 5 minutes later, and 1 cup of coffee later, I was back. I accepted my mistake and got back to work. Because sitting around feeling sorry for yourself doesn't make money. Moving forward does. This beauty cost me $5,510. And after all that hard work, I finally managed to sell the mini tractor. Which means I can now officially announce that I am becoming a real farmer. It's not the biggest tractor, it's not the newest tractor, but it's mine. And compared to what I was driving before, this thing feels like a luxury machine. Now we're getting somewhere. Wow, now I can drive 14 miles per hour without any problems, even with a trailer attached, and even uphill. Now we're talking. And now I'll finally be able to do more than just complete a logging contract. I can actually haul some of the cut trees away and sell them. The contract allows it. Now that's extra money, and that's exactly what I need right now. Things are finally starting to move a little faster. Now I just need to cut the trees down, remove all the branches, and cut the logs into 4-meter sections using a measuring tape. It's much easier to handle them that way. And processed logs usually sell for a better price. And more money. We're definitely going to need more money. That went pretty quickly. So what's the next purchase? Honestly, we need a little bit of everything. A few more greenhouses, more chickens, and we still need to fill the coop completely. Oh, this tractor is pulling the trailer without much effort at all. Excellent. And now I have lights, which means I can keep working even after dark. They have so many logs here, thousands of them. And yet, apparently they still need my few little logs too. I'm sure mine are the missing piece. You know what? I'll sell one log first, just to make sure they're actually going to pay me. All right, now I can sell the rest of it. It's not a fortune, but it's still money. And right now, every dollar matters. As long as money is this tight, it probably makes sense to keep doing this. A little extra income here, a little extra income there, and before you know it, it starts adding up. At least, that's what I keep telling myself. Hey guys, how's it going? What happened here?
Everything's fine. Just routine maintenance on the transformer. You can keep going.
Great, thanks for the information. Have a good one. Wow, and it's only halfway through the day. That's actually pretty good. Now I can finally bring water to the second greenhouse. And while I'm at it, I'm going to place 2 more greenhouses. We need a little variety in our vegetable production. It's good for business and good for health. Besides, this gives us a chance to find out which crops are actually the most profitable. You know what? I think this is the perfect spot for a few greenhouses. Yeah, right here. Excellent. Now all that's left is hauling a whole lot of water. I need to buy a cheap trailer. Just a temporary solution. It's not exactly convenient, but it is very cheap. And right now, that's what matters. Now I can finally bring some feed to the chickens. Oh yeah, that should keep them fed for several months. And while I'm here, I'll buy 10 more chickens. Excellent. But there's still one problem. How am I supposed to load pallets? Well, for poor future millionaires like me, some local garage inventor came up with this thing. It's awkward, it's slow, and it's definitely not fancy. But using free autoload would be too easy. This was my choice. The only problem is, it can't lift pallets very high. But that's all right. There's always a way to make things work. Oh, we have offspring. Excellent. The chicken business is officially growing. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And it looks like a new contract just appeared too. Now that's a good opportunity to make some money. But only if I can haul away at least a few logs. And that's not as easy as it sounds. These trees weigh more than a ton each, and cutting them into manageable pieces is a challenge all by itself. Still, if there's money lying in the forest, I'm going to find a way to bring it home. Yeah, this axe is not made for trees like these. I need a chainsaw. The problem is, I can only cut it in a very narrow spot near the top. And that creates another problem. Honestly, the only way I'm getting this giant present out of here is if it falls directly into my trailer by itself. Oh, yes, just like that. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that again. And just like I expected, I never managed another perfect drop like that. Only one more log barely landed on the trailer, and even that took some effort. The tractor can already feel the weight. It's working a lot harder now. Pulling these logs is no joke. And it's getting dark. Working in the dark is dangerous. I'd like to survive long enough to see how this story ends. Wow, more than $1,000. That's a very nice bonus. And that's on top of the contract payment. Which means that by the end of the month, I have more than $3,000. Now comes the difficult part. I need to invest that money wisely. November is here, the last month of autumn. The morning starts the usual way. A little more water for the greenhouses. Then it's time to load the harvest into the trailer. Earlier this morning, I made a few phone calls. And I found a place willing to buy all my produce. Vegetables, fruit, berries, and eggs too. Hopefully one day I'll have such a large selection of products that I'll be able to get a permit and open my own food shop. But for now, I'll have to deliver everything to this distribution center. It's quite a long drive, but that's just how business works. On the bright side, by the time I got there, the sun was already up. Good morning. I brought 2 pallets of tomatoes.
The unloading area is over there on the left.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's see. Looks like they're doing some construction here. I'm glad to see this town is still growing. They're repairing things, upgrading things, building new things. That's a good sign. Because if people are investing in this town, maybe it's worth investing here too. Maybe this is the right place to build a business. Not bad. That's pretty good money for just 2 pallets of vegetables. And it confirms exactly what I was expecting. I can produce roughly 1 pallet per month. And that's exactly how much this place is willing to buy from me. 1 pallet of each type of produce. Which means there's no point filling every greenhouse with the same crop. Variety is the key. Tomatoes, lettuce, strawberries, whatever sells well. The more different products I can offer, the more pallets I can sell each month. Looks like diversification isn't just for investors. It's useful for farmers too. That was a very profitable contract, and more importantly, a very fast one, which means I can finally afford a proper mower. About time. There's just one problem. It requires 60 horsepower, and my tractor has 59. 1 horsepower. Just 1. It sounds ridiculous, but this world can be cruel sometimes. So there was only one solution: more power, which meant upgrading the engine, a new tune, a different intake manifold, and a few more modifications. Not exactly a cheap upgrade, but if it helps me make money faster, then it's an investment, not an expense. I didn't even have enough money for the upgrade. I had to sell one of my old trailers just to make it happen. And after increasing the engine output to 66 horsepower, the tractor was still struggling to pull the mower. That should have been my first warning, but no, I ignored it. And then, about 5 minutes later, the tractor simply gave up. It stopped working with the mower altogether. Wonderful. I spend all my money on upgrades, sell part of my equipment, and somehow end up with a machine that still refuses to cooperate. This farm is trying very hard to teach me patience. I made the decision very quickly, almost instantly. About an hour later, the mower was sold. there was no point replacing the tractor. The nearest upgrade that actually made sense cost around $10,000. And that's simply not happening right now. So I did something that probably sounds completely ridiculous. I bought the little mini tractor again. Why? Because I had contracts to finish, and I intended to finish them. If I started accepting jobs and then abandoning them, people would stop calling. And I can't afford to lose regular customers, not at this stage. So for now, the mini tractor is back. Not because I wanted it, because I needed it. It was finally time to buy a proper trailer. This one cost me $2,400. Not cheap, but definitely more practical. In theory, it can carry 6 pallets, but honestly, I'd rather transport 4 at a time. The trailer only has single wheels, not dual wheels, and I don't really feel like picking up pallets from the ditch. Although to be fair, weight is probably more important than the number of pallets. And it's time to scale the business. This chicken coop costs only $2,000. Of course, that's with my free fence mod installed. Without it, the price would be much higher. Which means that in terms of cost versus capacity, this thing is hard to beat. And you can immediately see the biggest weakness of this chicken coop. Yes, I can make it larger. I could even keep 500 chickens in here. But the feed storage capacity stays the same, only 750 liters. With a fully stocked coop, that wouldn't even last a month. So this is only a temporary solution. As soon as I have enough money, I'll replace this coop with something better. Sometimes it feels like nothing is changing, like there's no progress at all. But when I stop and think about it, that's not true. Last time I loaded 2 pallets onto the trailer. Now I'm loading 3. Just yesterday, I had only 1 chicken coop. And before that, I didn't even have a tractor. Maybe the progress is small. Maybe it's hard to notice from day to day, but it's there. Good morning. Today I've got onions, strawberries, and cabbage.
3 pallets? Excellent. Go right through.
Perfect. Thanks. That gave me a little extra money. And naturally, I rushed straight home so I could spend it. Spend it wisely, of course. Because that's exactly what successful businessmen do. The moment they make money, they immediately start looking for ways to spend it. I bought a little more feed, topped up the water in the greenhouses, bought a few more chickens, and I even managed to complete a small forestry contract. And just like that, the last day of autumn came to an end. It wasn't the most profitable day. It wasn't the most exciting day. But every little step moves this farm forward. December is here, and New Year is getting closer and closer. So this month needs to be finished beautifully and efficiently. I'm removing one of the greenhouses because it's in a terrible location. And in its place, I'm going to build something else, something much more important. and it's finally time to get my first piece of equipment for field work. This month, I'd really like to cultivate my field. So yes, I bought a cultivator. And this is probably the smallest cultivator I have ever used. But it was cheap, and that's extremely important for business growth. I marked out the field boundaries and finally prepared the area for future chicken coops. And then an amazing contract popped up. Believe it or not, it was a tree cutting contract. Never happened before, and here we are again. But once I got into the forest, I realized I'd hit the jackpot. There were huge oak trees that needed to be cut down. I was driving so fast that the Skoda was ready to launch itself into space. But I had no time to waste. I needed to sell those tomatoes as quickly as possible and use the money to buy a chainsaw. Because cutting down an oak tree with an axe, yeah, that's not happening. While I'm driving to buy the chainsaw, I'm trying to decide which picture I like more. The colorful vanilla look, or the more realistic reshade version? Like this, or like this? Maybe this one. Or maybe this one after all? I honestly can't decide. A chainsaw! Now you're going to be living with me. Alright, time to try the old trick again. Not on the first attempt, of course, but eventually. The tree landed right on my trailer. Perfect. Now all that's left is to cut off the branches and clean it up. Wow, this thing is huge. It looks absolutely ridiculous on this tiny trailer. But hey, I did it. And then I did it again. And again. And again. 4 times in total. Not without problems, of course. One of those trees fought back. I spent ages trying to deal with it. I even had to run back and get my Skoda, which, as always, was completely useless. But eventually, I got everything loaded up and got myself out of there. And then the money started rolling in. Good money. Then more good money. Oh, and let's not forget, I still got paid for the contract itself. So now my account balance is almost $1 million. Well, to be precise, $6,990. Big money. And here's what I spent almost all of my money on. A proper pumping station. And a water tank. Finally! Now I don't have to haul water to every single greenhouse anymore. And I filled it with enough water to last about 6 months. One problem solved. I'll gladly take that. And since there was still some daylight left, I finished cultivating my gigantic field. Well, gigantic by my standards anyway. But still, the field is ready, the water problem is solved, the chicken business is growing, and I even managed to make some good money this month. Honestly, I think December turned out even better than I expected. January arrived fast, and luckily, there was no snow, which meant I could finally get some important preparation work done. I'm not complaining. Every extra day without snow is a gift when you're trying to build a farming empire from almost nothing. So before winter decides to remember it's winter, let's get to work. Hey, Happy New Year! Today I've got lettuce, green onions, and strawberries.
Perfect. We've been waiting for you.
Now that's exactly what I like to hear. The money is in, which means it's finally time to buy a sprayer. Oops, which actually means it's time to rent a sprayer. Turns out I'm not quite rich enough to buy one yet, but that's okay. The field isn't going to spray itself. I like this sprayer. It's cheap, it's efficient. Now the real question is, how much fertilizer should I buy? 6? 7? Ouch. This is getting expensive. Very expensive. Every time I look at the price, I suddenly become a much more precise farmer. Maybe 6 is enough. Maybe 5.5. Let's not go bankrupt over fertilizer.
I wonder
can hook up the trailer. Oh, that was a mistake. All right, I'll just throw the canisters in the back. Sometimes Plan A exists only to remind you that Plan B was the correct choice all along. I think there was a place to refill it around here. Yep, perfect. And the price is about the same as at a gas station. Not bad at all. All right, let's see what this thing can do. Wow, when it's folded up, it looks tiny. Just look at this thing. I could probably spray this entire field in 3 passes. Maybe 4 if I start driving like an idiot. The only problem, liquid fertilizer is expensive. Very expensive. I wonder if there's a way to turn solid fertilizer into liquid fertilizer. I need to check that. Because if I can save money on fertilizer, that opens up another way to make money. Spraying contracts. Those show up pretty often. And the more ways I have to earn money, the faster my chicken empire will grow. And that's exactly what we're here for. I hope my neighbor forgives me. I may have slightly ruined part of his field. Just a little, probably. And I can already see that I'm going to need a 4th pass. Yep, I made a mistake. But that's all right. You learn from your mistakes. And apparently, I like learning the hard way. The field is fertilized to 50%. Perfect. Although, why am I seeing solid fertilizer on the ground? That's strange. Very strange. I'll pretend I know exactly what's happening. And what's even more surprising, I still managed to complete another forestry contract. A small one, but a contract is a contract, and money is money. And of course, I spent every last dollar on chicken feed. Because apparently that's what my life has become now. Trees become money, money becomes chicken feed, and chicken feed eventually becomes more money. And just like that, January was coming to an end. So what happens next? Will we finally get some snow next month? Or is winter taking this year off too? Oh, what a surprise. February arrived. And so did the snow. I never saw that coming. Not in winter. Definitely not in February. The forecast says we're only getting a light snowfall. So I'm hoping I'll still be able to get some work done this month. Because sitting around and waiting for spring is not part of my business plan. Wow, now I can haul 5 pallets of different vegetables and berries at once. That's some serious progress right there. Oh, did you see that? That deer must be completely confused. First, this car almost hit the deer, and then it almost crashed head-on into another car. These people are insane, seriously. The deer is probably standing there wondering who gave these drivers a license. I need to move fast before my vegetables freeze. By next winter, I really need to buy a box truck, or at least an enclosed trailer. Hey, today I've got garlic, cabbage, tomatoes, strawberries, and lettuce. A full load. Even if I start making good money, it will be difficult to buy a suitable piece of land. And I like that. What is February the best month for? Of course, making some money from a forestry contract. And today, I'm going to try some new equipment, a new method. First, I'm going to cut the logs into good transport-sized pieces. If I'm not mistaken, This is the most valuable and heaviest type of wood. I need a loader like this, a log grab, and a small trailer. It looks monstrous. I hope this turns out to be profitable. Otherwise, I'll be going into March with no money. This Volvo is old, but it looks really cool. It's handling the job. Although, this log grab looks way too big. It's strange that nobody at the sawmill has asked why all of the logs are marked with red paint yet. I probably could have rented a bigger trailer, but the next size up is much more expensive. And right now, saving money is just as important as making money. Now we're about to find out if this is actually worth the time. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. And I've still got enough timber left for another trip just like this one. I'm liking this loader more and more. It's heavy, it's stable, and it's inexpensive. Honestly, it costs less than a small forklift. Although if you look at real-world listings, there are plenty of them for $5,000 or $6,000. All that's left now is to load a few large logs, and I'll carry the last one on the front. That should help distribute the weight. 2 logs are too heavy for it. I'll try carrying them one at a time. Yeah, that was the right decision. Now I'm going to finish this contract and start preparing for the first month of spring. The snow will melt, and it'll be time to start planting. I'd also like to buy that sprayer. I'll return the rented one and buy the exact same model brand new. For my needs, it's a great option. And I think I bought enough liquid fertilizer to last for a while. Good. Now, if you compare what I'm hauling, my logs actually look bigger than the ones stacked at this sawmill. So, what do we have here? Oh, I got paid. Although, they paid me less than last time. And honestly, it looks like I brought more timber than I did before. That's a little suspicious. Right now, there's a water tank on sale. And this is the exact tank I'm looking for. Its unloading speed matches the filling speed of that green pumping station, which means I can fully automate filling that blue water reservoir. And I do like automation. But of course, I don't have the money for that right now. What I need is an inexpensive seeder, and I think I found exactly what I'm looking for. This is an Agromet seeder. It's the best option for me. And it was made in Poland, which is perfect because we're doing this challenge on a Polish map. It will definitely handle our field. Although, there's nothing stopping it from working a field 10 times larger than this one. I bought a few bags of wheat seed, and they should fit perfectly in the seeder. I'm loading them right here, so I don't have to haul the bags all the way back to my farm. It's a shame I can't afford to build a proper garage yet, so for now, everything will have to sit outside, on the ground, or more accurately, on the snow. But I'm definitely going to come up with something before next season. At least some kind of shed. And what else did I find at the store? The perfect sprayer for me. It's cheap, it's small, and it's more than enough for what I need. Honestly, I think I could probably hook it up to the Skoda. I'll go pay for it while you load my purchase onto the trailer.
All right, I'll tell my guys to take care of it.
Well, it looks like I'm finally ready for spring. Although, there is one small detail I forgot about. I returned the rented sprayer with a full tank of liquid fertilizer still inside. Yeah, that wasn't my smartest move. Oh well. Now, we wait for spring. Just look at this. Beautiful weather. Beautiful greenhouses filled with water. The vegetables are already harvested and stacked on pallets. And all the equipment is ready to go. I can't wait to try out my new sprayer. it fits this tractor perfectly. I mean the size, it looks very balanced. And the color matches too. This field isn't going to be enough for long. I need to buy another field this season. And I think I'll need one more next year as well. That field right across the road is for sale. The fertilizer percentage isn't moving. Maybe the second fertilizer stage has to be applied after planting. Not a question, not a problem. Either I keep driving across the field every single time, or oh yeah, that's much better. Now let's see how this seeder handles the field. And at the same time, how the tractor handles the seeder. Actually pretty good. No loss of power at all. Everything is going smoothly, just like clockwork. Excellent! The wheat has reached its first growth stage. Fertilized, 50%. Expected yield bonus, 68%. The field still needs rolling, and there are a few patches of weeds in some areas. But overall, everything is looking good.
And what exactly is this guy hauling in his trailer? A pile of money? Maybe the biggest shipment of vegetables yet? Come to think of it, he hasn't earned a single dollar from the chicken business yet. And what's the goal of this challenge? To make $1 million from the chicken business. So, no progress toward the goal at all? Well, maybe there is. Because if I tried to reach that goal using only income from chickens, it would probably take about 50 in-game years. I mean, just imagine waiting for one chicken to lay a few eggs, then using that money to buy a second chicken 6 months later. Yeah, that's pretty much how it would go. And in the end, this challenge would actually be impossible, because we'd never earn enough money for a second chicken. Every month, there's a maintenance cost for the chicken coop. Yep, I've already tried something similar before. Different rules, same idea. And I went bankrupt after just a few months. All the money was going into maintaining the coop. And even if maintenance was free, you'd still need feed. Without feed, chickens don't lay eggs. That's the second problem when you start from absolutely nothing. That's exactly why I added the Wheel of Fortune, and the chance to get at least some money at the start. As for the other rules, I mean the random map, the random field, the random vehicle, I think that's what makes it fun. And yes, I spun the Wheel of Fortune several times before I started recording the challenge. I'm not going to hide that. That's how these rules were chosen. That's also why you're only allowed to take out a loan after 6 months. Because if you can take a loan immediately, there's no survival element at the beginning. But removing loans completely isn't a good solution either. The challenge would become way too slow, and honestly, not very interesting. So yes, I tested every possible outcome on the Wheel of Fortune, over and over again, until I found what I think is the perfect combination of rules, randomness, and the main objective. That's also why I removed the possibility of starting with $0, because with $0, you're already stuck. You can't do anything. But when I changed that $0 to $50, suddenly you could buy an axe. Suddenly you could complete your first contract. Suddenly the challenge actually begins. And now, here's the main question. Will Alex manage to complete the challenge within 3 years? Because 7 months have already passed. And I think Alex may have forgotten one of the rules, because he could have taken his first loan a month ago already.
Enough talking. Because, by the way, my chicken business has already made its first $1,000. Ha! Well, more like $4,000 already. And yes, I sold the bad chicken coop, and right now I'm building 3 new ones. I spent a long time comparing different options, and among the affordable choices, this one is the best in every category. Price, animal capacity, feed capacity, and the amount of space it takes up. Honestly, it's hard to find a better deal than this. I really liked how everything looked at this point. But of course, nothing went according to plan. Oh man, I'd already filled the chicken coops with feed. And only then did I realize I'd placed them way too close to each other. I couldn't even get inside. So I had to sell 2 out of the 3. And of course, lose a few bags of feed in the process. Good thing I hadn't bought the chickens yet. That would have been a local scale disaster. Seriously, a complete catastrophe. Looks like I fixed everything. But now I don't have enough money to fill the chicken coops with as many birds as I wanted. Luckily, a batch of cabbage was ready for harvest right on time. Although, that only gave me enough money to buy feed. But then I spotted a new contract. And of course, that meant another trip to the forest to cut down some trees. I made a little money. Well, who am I kidding? I've become spoiled already. Of course it was good money. And now I can finally start filling these chicken coops. At least partially. I bought 1 rooster and 30 adult hens for each coop. I'll earn some more money, and then I'll buy more. My goal is to keep 50 chickens in each coop at all times. As soon as chicks start hatching and the population reaches the limit, I'll sell some of the adult chickens until the number goes back down to 50. Wow, just look at this. Now this is starting to look like the beginning of a real empire. Wow, my farm shop is really popular. Putting it here was definitely the right decision. Another contract completed. And now I'm already thinking about adding another source of income. But everything is so expensive. All right, I think it's finally time to take out a loan. The bank approved me for $36,000. That's not a huge amount, but I think I can increase the limit later. For 2 years, and at a pretty good interest rate. Excellent! Honestly, it makes more sense to buy land right now. There's a pretty good plot for sale nearby. They're asking $27,000 for it. I'll offer $25,000. Maybe I'll get lucky. Oh, nice. I like that. Deal. And wow, it's mine. My very first property. Is that mine? Oh wait, no, the neighboring one is mine. Even the heavens started crying. Oh, that's hail. Never mind. Now it's time to get to work. This month I need to fertilize this field properly. Luckily, I already have everything I need for that. And I also need to get it planted as well as possible, considering the weather. And of course, I still need to finish filling up the chicken coops. And finally, I'm putting up a small shelter. I think it'll be perfect for storing seeds, fertilizer, and all the other supplies. March turned out to be a very productive month. April is here. And I think I left my tractor out in the field overnight. Hey, get out of here! You little bandits, the field isn't that big. The last thing I need is for you to ruin my crops. And I think I picked the wrong storage shed. Nothing visits inside it. Oh well, I'll deal with that problem later. On the bright side, the first eggs are already showing up in the new chicken coops. So, what's on sale today? Nothing interesting. Alright then, I've still got 4 more months to take forestry contracts, so there's no way I'm passing up today's offer. Oh, and here's the first bag of trash I found in the forest. Excellent. I'm looking at this tree. That's a gold mine. There are 11 damaged trees that need to be cleared here. There's no way I'm missing an opportunity like this. It's time to buy a more powerful tractor, and while I'm at it, I'll get to try out some new equipment. Yep, this trailer with the log loader looks absolutely awesome. Big, heavy, impressive. The trailer will handle these huge trees just fine, but the tractor, Yeah, this tractor is definitely a bit too small for jobs like this. Last month, I spent quite a bit of time hauling all these logs around. I could have bought a bigger tractor a long time ago, but then I'd probably still be stuck with just one small chicken coop. Instead, I've already got almost 200 chickens. If I'm not mistaken, I should count everything once exactly 1 year has passed since the challenge began. I'm actually curious. For some reason, I have a feeling that after 1 full year, my chicken business will have made no more than $20,000. I think one important thing to remember is that I rolled the hard difficulty. And of course, I made mistakes. The biggest one was that contract right at the beginning. Because of one stupid mistake, I lost more than $5,000 and a huge amount of time. You could say I wasted an entire month. That won't happen again. But then again, things could have turned out much worse than this. Honestly, I have no idea where I'd be right now without those forestry contracts. How else was I supposed to make money? I mean, in my situation. I guess I could spend all day fishing. But I'd much rather swing an axe than a fishing rod. There's another thing too. Contracts can only be completed using your own equipment. Otherwise, I'd just be running contracts 24 hours a day without ever sleeping. That would be boring and completely unrealistic. I mean, who would actually hire you to remove weeds, then hand you all the equipment you need and still pay you a fortune for the job? Come on, that just doesn't make any sense. And just like that, I got paid more than $7,000 for 1 trailer load of logs. Sounds like a lot? Well, think about everything that went into it. First, I had to take the contract. Before that, I had to buy a tractor. Now I had to rent an expensive log trailer. Then I spent a long time cutting down the trees, removing all the branches, carefully loading every log onto the trailer, and finally hauling everything here. I spent time, I spent money, I burned fuel, and I put wear on my equipment. Honestly, I think a job like that should pay well. But getting over $1,000 just for driving over, cutting down 10 trees and calling it a day? That feels way too easy. And the game even lets you skip the drive completely. Just teleport. Done. To me, that's just as silly as being able to buy any piece of land whenever you want. Honestly, that realistic real estate market mod I installed a few days ago might be my favorite mod now, without a doubt. I worked hard for this. And now, I've got a new tractor. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. I genuinely enjoy driving it. A lot of people will probably think I'm exaggerating, but here's the thing. I didn't get it for free. I had to earn it. And somehow, that makes it so much more valuable. At least to me. And it makes owning it a whole lot more satisfying. And now, I finally reached the point where I can buy my own weeder. I'll clear the weeds from my own fields,
And after that, I'll finally be able to take on weed removal contracts too. Now that's progress. I love it. I think I finally found something that actually fits inside my shed. Wow, I just realized I'm actually becoming a self-sufficient farmer. The wheat is already visible above the ground. That means it's reached the second growth stage, which means I can apply the second layer of fertilizer. Yes, 100% fertilized. Perfect. That means an even bigger harvest bonus. Now, where was I? Let's say I buy an abandoned field right now. I've got a cultivator, fertilizer, seeder, weeder, and I've got a tractor. A really good tractor. The only thing I'm still missing is harvesting equipment, but I'm sure I'll figure that out. For the next 6 months, I've got 2 main goals. First, scale up the chicken business, and second, buy an inexpensive combine harvester. Although, maybe renting one makes more sense. We'll see. Right now I'm working on a huge contract. All I'm doing is removing weeds. But honestly, even though the field is enormous, this actually feels relaxing. After all that logging, this is practically a vacation.
Well, those were 4 tough months. But thanks to scaling up the business, the pace of progress is picking up too. Otherwise, this challenge simply wouldn't be possible. And now I can honestly say, completing this challenge and showing it to all of you isn't nearly as easy as it might seem. It looks like just 2 videos, about an hour and a half each. But in reality, it's over 20 hours of gameplay and almost 1 terabyte of 4K footage compressed into these 2 episodes. And we're still a long way from $1 million. I really hope to hear your thoughts. Any kind of feedback means a lot to me. A subscription, a comment, or if you'd like to support the channel even more, you can become a channel member. At the same time, alongside my regular job and this challenge, I'm also working on the next chapter of Alex and Samantha's story. As always, your support and your activity are what keep me motivated to continue.
All right. It's time to keep moving. And here comes May. The weather is beautiful once again. Hail, rain, wind. Perfect. At the beginning of May, I decided it was finally time to improve the farm. I emptied out my very first chicken coop and sold it. Honestly, it just wasn't very practical. But selling it turned out to be a pretty good deal. I decided to invest that money in building another chicken coop and my very first home. Although, I'm not even sure I'll be able to finish that building. It usually takes a huge amount of materials. But it isn't just a house. It also has a garage on the ground floor. And of course, I went with the same chicken coop again. This is number 4 already. I'm sticking with the same strategy. 1 rooster, 50 hens. I actually bought all the feed for this coop at the end of last month. I've got 4 huge bags of wheat. And a really cool way to move them around. Beautiful weather. I just need a little more money. Then I can finally go pick up the building materials for my new place. Horses. I've never actually raised horses before. Don't you have to ride them? I wonder if I can just hire someone to do that for me. Hey, how's it going? Looks like you've got the right equipment. Your boss said you'd load me up. Well, you guys have quite the system here. All right, have a good one, guys. Oh, perfect. The trailer's loaded. Let's head to the construction site. $5,000! And that's only the first load of building materials. I've got a bad feeling about this construction project. I have a feeling I'm not going to finish this building, and I'll just end up losing a ton of money. Oh well, first things first, I need to clean this place up a bit. There we go. Yeah, I really like how this looks now. Yeah, there's a little perfectionist living inside me, but sometimes he's asleep. All right, looks like there's only enough room for 2 more chicken coops. After that, I'll have to expand again. Wow, look at all those eggs. All I see is future money. Yes! And over here, what an incredible crop. It looks beautiful. And the best part is, I grew it with my own hands. Wow. All right, let's keep moving. We need more money to build 2 more chicken coops. And that means it's time to take on some more contracts. And I'm really happy that now I can mix things up. It's not just forestry contracts anymore. Weeding contracts are something I can do for 6 months of the year. What else can I do? Well, I've got a cultivator, but it's so small, using it on a big field would be more suffering than farming. Although, it would be perfect for smaller fields. The same goes for spraying. But first, I want to see if I can make my own liquid fertilizer.
Honestly, things should start moving a lot faster now. The main thing is not to forget to feed the chickens. And by the end of summer, I'll need to refill the water tank again. You know, I was just thinking. What would have happened if the Wheel of Fortune had given me different starting conditions? Well, the difficulty is obvious. That changes everything. But let's say, instead of the Skoda, I'd rolled a motorcycle. Honestly, that would have been even worse. I wouldn't even be able to pull a trailer. So, that would have been rough. Now, what if I'd started with the cheapest tractor instead? If I remember correctly, that little yellow case is the cheapest one I've got installed. Which means I could have started mowing contract in the very first month. But, I'm not even sure that would have made life much easier. Alright, transportation makes sense. But what about the starting field? I rolled a pretty small one. Well, relatively small. Although, for Poland, where fields are smaller and land isn't as valuable, it's actually a pretty decent start. I could have rolled an even smaller field, one where a chicken coop wouldn't even fit. But then again, I could have rolled a forest plot. Now that would have been huge. I'd have made a fortune right from the start. Or imagine getting a wheat field, free chicken feed from day one. That's actually a pretty nice start. And don't even get me started on the map. Oh boy, that's a whole different story. I could have rolled an island. No contracts, hardly any land. And what exactly are you supposed to do there? Or I could have landed on Riverbend Springs. Sounds great, right? Well, not really. I've already spent, about 500 hours on that map. The last thing I wanted was another 60 hours there doing this challenge. So, yeah, I guess I actually got pretty lucky. That's my conclusion. And honestly, everything's going really well. My goal was to make at least a couple $1,000s from the chicken business during the first year. And somehow, I've already saved up $5,000. And the year's not even over yet. So, we keep working. We keep selling vegetables. We keep selling eggs. We feed the chickens. We sell the chicks. And we keep chasing those wild boars away. Can't let them get too comfortable. I already caught them stomping all over my new field. All right, let's jump straight into summer. Here we go. The last few months have all started with a negative balance. That's because I keep forgetting about my loan payment. And would you look at that? All of my chicken coops are completely full. That means my plan is actually working. So now I sell 20 chickens from each coop just to make room so the rest can keep breeding. All right, the wheat is already at growth stage 6 out of 8, which means, yep, I'm gonna need a combine pretty soon. And honestly, there are some really good budget options out there. They'd be absolutely perfect for my little fields. And you know what? I'd finally be able to take harvesting contracts too. Well, only on the smaller fields. Anything bigger than that? No thanks. That's not farming anymore. That's just suffering. And suffering? Yeah, that's definitely not our style. So, what am I doing now? Well, I've only got 2 months left when I can still take forestry contracts. So, I better make the most of it. This time, I rented a log winch. My plan was to drag the really big logs out and sell them. Nope. No, that's definitely not gonna work. Nice idea, terrible execution. I decided to swing by the farm and restock the market with fresh vegetables. And once again, I'm convinced that lettuce is the most profitable crop. By far. It's making almost twice as much as everything else. Well, that settles it. Every greenhouse is switching over to lettuce. All right, back to work. This time I decided to try a wood chipper for the very first time, which of course meant renting a trailer for bulk materials too. And I even found one that I can tow with the Skoda. Nice. Now that's what I'm talking about. I can honestly say, that wasn't worth it. Turns out the wood chipper only accepts branches. All the big logs were left sitting in the forest. So, I ended up with just 3 trailer loads of wood chips. That's about $3,000. Sounds decent, until you remember I had to pay for all that rental equipment. So in the end, I made quite a bit less than that. And by then, it was already getting late. There wasn't enough time to come up with a plan for those big logs. So, I just finished the contract and called it a day. The first year of the challenge is almost over. So, it's time to get some serious work done. And of course, I've got to finish it off with one last forestry contract, the last one of this playthrough. But then, I got a surprise. I showed up for the new contract, and the logs from last month were still lying there. Normally, they disappear as soon as you finish the contract. Well, I'm taking that as a sign. We're cleaning this place out. Everything goes. The old logs, the new logs, all of it. Because we need cash. Lots of cash. That combine isn't going to buy itself. Even though I'm honestly getting a little tired of forestry contracts, I started this one in a really good mood. Actually, I was excited. You know why? Because it's the last forestry contract. Finally! What a beautiful day. So, I grabbed a good trailer, a good attitude, and got straight to loading those logs. Alright, let's make this one count. The day's not over yet. We've still got plenty of work to do. But honestly, I'm even more excited about what's coming next. Because I have a feeling next year is really going to show whether I can beat this challenge. Already next month, the wheat harvest begins, which means I need to figure out where I'm going to store all that grain. Looks like I'm gonna need another trailer too. And once the harvest is over, I'll finally know if it's worth buying another wheat field. Because I'm done buying wheat from the store. I'm a serious farmer now. I'm gonna grow my own chicken feed. And if I can start making my own liquid fertilizer too, oh, the competition is gonna be jealous. They'll be standing there, biting their elbows, and quietly, very quietly, buying my products anyway. You know, I honestly have no idea why I bought this trailer. It's actually kind of a pain to load. The only reason I bought it is because we have this exact trailer at our company in real life. So, yeah, I just wanted it. No logic, just emotions. Would you look at this place? Just 1 year ago, this was nothing but an abandoned field. The neighbors must be absolutely thrilled, because now, my roosters wake them up every single morning at 4 o'clock. You've got tractors rumbling around, chickens clucking everywhere. This place is finally alive. All right, next year, I'll start giving the neighbors free eggs and fresh vegetables. You've got to stay on good terms with your neighbors. And here it is, my very own mini liquid fertilizer factory. I'll put it to the test next month. I'm really curious to see if it actually works. Oh, and yeah, I already demolished the building I was working on. Why did I just throw away more than $5,000? Well, because I messed up. Again. Turns out, to continue the construction, I needed to deliver paving stones to the site. First of all, they're ridiculously expensive. And second, you can't even buy them on this map. Seriously. So, yeah, that project was over before it even began.
Want to take on this challenge yourself? Let me know down in the comments. I'll spin the Wheel of Fortune for you and reveal your starting conditions in the next video. If you want to see what happens next, just hit that subscribe button and leave a like. And if you've got something to say, I'd love to see you down in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.